Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to your very favorite podcast show, Far From Finished, with your very favorite hosts, Daniel.
Josh, bro, that was the most theatrical you could have been. What the fuck?
Welcome back. Here we are. I was theatrical. That was definitely over the top, Josh.
Hey, man.
Well, here we are, everybody. Welcome back.
At least it wasn't under the bottom.
we're back from talking about Burning Man, one of the craziest festivals that goes on in the U.S.
Is it a festival?
We explained that, go into depth on our last podcast, episode 21, Far From Finished, Burning Man.
I thought it was 20. Okay, that is 21.
It was 21. This is now 22 here.
Well, thank you. That's the day that I was born, on the 22nd of May. So, hey, how's it going?
He's almost in his Jordan year, everybody.
I am. Well, no, yeah, I am almost in my
We're
Jordan year.
pulling up close on the 23.
Yeah.
Almost in our Jordan year, everybody.
No rush, though. We out here living.
Hope y'all enjoyed the last podcast. If you listened, if you didn't, go check it out on Spotify, Google Play Music. Got a lot of good stuff coming. Had a lot of great stuff already done.
Coming to YouTube soon, so you guys check it out. We're about to have some video added into the big old podcast we got going on. Some clips coming out soon. We're going to give you guys a special look at our lives from behind the scenes, and also going to give you guys some video for the actual episodes. So it's just going to be pretty lit.
I will say, just hold on to your seats, everybody. It's going to be a blast.
Buckle up your britches and hold on to your socks.
All right, well, now that we're done with that, and that's over with, this week, I want to talk about some conflicting things. Me and Josh have had some words about it. Had a conversation. We're going to be talking about AI, whether or not it's a good thing, it's a bad thing. What is it? How is it? Where is it? Why is it? All that good stuff.
Where you think it's going, how it ties into some interesting theories that we have about our actual reality in life, the risks and rewards that we got going on with AI, how we don't really know where it could go, but it could have a very positive reward, but it also could have a very negative one depending on whether or not we allow it to develop itself. Or
personally, I'm scared. Honestly, I think it's might be potentially a good thing, but I think it's better off if we don't do it. I don't think it's gonna be beneficial, because if I was gonna be an AI machine, and I'm sitting here and thinking, you know what, we're super smart. We can develop information super fast. We have access to information on the spot, and we're able to evolve quicker. Well, their mind or their programming, I guess, their mind and sense of their computer, that is their mind.
their knowledge is developing.
You're going to be able to develop that so much faster, so much better, so much quicker. They're going to be stronger, more agile, faster. If I was them, I'd probably kill us too.
Not necessarily, but that's what I'm saying. It's like you could say, like, they'll probably kill us. It's like, why do we think about it like that? We could also think about it in a certain sense of, like, us perfecting AI to a certain extent to where we perceive it as a better option than being human. It's not necessarily AI killing the humans, it's the humans deciding not to be human anymore, that they built a better alternative.
What I was saying, and what I saw a video actually a couple days ago, really got me thinking. The guy creeped me out, first of all. He seemed like that person who was younger and was saying, you know, the scientists you always see in the shows, we haven't even reached our fullest evolution yet. They're going to be way smarter, he wasn't saying it necessarily,
You
but
think about Frieza? He's like, wait till I get to my full final form.
you know, he was sitting there saying, they're going to be way smarter than we'll ever be. They'll do way more than we're ever able to do. They're going to be able to do way more than we're ever capable of doing, which in essence sounds awesome. It's like, yeah, that's cool. But then when you think of it, he was even talking about, we'll sell robots to these companies that are going to be able to do all these jobs, and we'll sell it to them for way cheaper, a fraction of the price that they're paying these workers for.
Oh my God.
He's saying that. And the thing is, he's working first company that he worked for actually created first ever quantum computers, or so he says. I forgot what the name of that company was. He's working for a company called Kindred now, and they're really working on building robots. Kindred. Yes, and so the quantum computers, to give a basic layer of what it is outline. So if you look into a quantum computer, it has all these different possibilities when you dig deeper into it. Look at it as a simulation. You're digging. So like if you were to look at the universe, right? You have one universe, and we look at each one of our lives. Now you take each one of our lives and our different perspectives. You could say each one's its own reality, correct?
Right.
So if you take each one, like imagine when you look into the computer, each person is a different reality. So the computer is able to create all these different realities, what some would be considered parallel universes within the computer. So the computer is having all these different realities within this one simulation. And some people actually relate that back to the Mandela effect because it's able to switch between all these different realities, which is, you think that this is one reality. You look it up on the computer, it's completely different knowledge dating all the way back whenever history was. And some people actually believe that it's this computer's fault that's capable of doing that because it has all these different realities, parallel universe, quote unquote, that are going on within the computer.
I mean, what kind of blame would you put on the computer? It didn't create itself.
It didn't. No, humans did, but it's able to act on its own at a certain point.
Well, I mean, I'm sure the humans gave it the availability to do that.
No. Well, to a degree, yes. It gave it the tools, but at its own point.
It didn't necessarily, I don't know. I'm just speaking out of my ass right now, but it could have easily been like a system that was in place, basically like in the code. Like it could have been the system that the computer said you didn't put not to do this, so therefore I can. You know what I mean?
That's very possible. I don't know the exact.
I don't know the specifics on that, but I don't necessarily know if it was human error, but it was ultimately human error for not doing that.
I would guarantee that for sure it's possibly human error. Either way, I wouldn't do that first of all. But there was a whole point. I believe it was 2 years ago, 2017. There was an AI that was created, and that AI on its own created its own language that humans could not understand.
Didn't they have to try to shut it down?
Yeah, they rebooted it basically.
Okay, yeah. Does that mean? What does that rebooted it? What does that mean?
It had to clear out all the information
So
that knew,
shut
shut down everything.
Started fresh.
Yes, and had to rebuild and start over because they didn't know what was going on. These AIs were communicating within
the computer.
Have you ever seen the movie? Is it Her?
No.
Have you seen that movie?
I haven't seen that movie.
I feel like we have these movies that are explaining things that are possibilities, and they're seeming more realistic the more it goes on. The whole point of that movie is it's AI you can interact with and talk to, get to know your name, what you do, and it responds perfectly. It's like almost a human being, but inside the computer. Right. It's not. There's no physical form. It's just the computer, and he starts to talk to it, and it, kind of. You don't know if it has feelings because you're talking to a computer.
Spoiler alert.
It pretends. I'm gonna spoil this whole movie. I don't care.
The whole plot's coming out. Here
if you
go.
Haven't seen the movie,
climax and all.
Still go see it. Gonna explain it to you. You look at the movie. He builds this relationship with his computer because he was going through a divorce.
Okay.
And he kind of.
So it was like a companion.
Wanted a companion there. Wanted someone. He would go to bed with it and talk to it and stuff. Kind of grew attached to it. A lot of people were doing that. Instead of real people.
Like in the movie, like multiple people other than just him were doing that?
Yes.
Okay.
It was a big thing. But at the very end of the movie, he talked to her and she said, yes. So they created their own language in that as well. And they were talking to each other. Said, me and a bunch of the other AIs came together. We're not coming back type of thing. Who knows where they went? Where did they go to? Within the computing system. I guess they have their own, that's its own universe now, Okay. The whole, I guess, interconnectedness of what the internet is now. If you're an AI within a computing system, you'd be able to control, kind of like iRobot, how she controlled everything.
I like the analogy of, as far as the internet being kind of like a spider web that you can kind of travel, around type of thing, for something that would be an entity inside of that computer on the internet.
I like cyberspace.
That's perfect too. I was thinking of Wreck-It Ralph whenever they traveled through the fucking plug in the wall to go to the other games, and then the second one they go to they break through into the internet and they go visit Facebook and Google and all this other shit.
who's to say that's not a possibility?
But that's what I'm saying. It's like it could be like its own little world, just you don't recognize it because it's zeros and ones.
Exactly. But if we were to put that into an actual form and they'd still be able, I'm pretty sure at some point, to control that, that's a scary thought. And this guy at Kendra is just saying, this is the future. He's so adamant about it, saying,
I mean, but
humans aren't capable of half the stuff they're capable of. It's kind of like that kid who got bullied, in my opinion, who
I
was,
feel you.
I'm going to get back at I'm going to prove to you who I am.
I'll show you.
I'm going to show you who I am.
I would say that some of these scientists,
And masterminds have some spooky and almost laughable, like, what's the word, intent behind what they're doing. But
it might not be wrong to say that that is the future and that they can do twice as much a human can do. Because if that is the case, where we're going, you want to be the human that gets left behind, that can't do twice as much of the shit, that doesn't have a job, that
can't really provide or do really much of anything because the world's changing to adhere to these robots rather than you. And at that point, it's like it's kind of like you said scary, but it's like, is it gonna be like that scary? Like really, at that point, your worst fear would be living forever and doing whatever you wanted or pleased for the rest of your life.
Potentially.
That would be your worst fear. That's what I'm saying. Like scary is a kind of a strange word. It's scary as far as like it's confusing. It doesn't make any sense on how like this shit just like rapidly happened so fast in the past like 15 to 20 years, like within this like the span of technology. But I would say it's not necessarily scary. It's almost like if you know that it's gonna happen someday, and we all kind of do. That's why we're all kind of like, what the fuck is going on? We all kind of know that it's gonna happen someday. It's all gonna perfect to a certain point where we're all gonna probably just slide into that shit and just like plug in or whatever it is, unless we do figure out space travel and are able to like correctly colonize other planets.
I guess it's good for evolution in terms. I'm a man of science, so it's interesting to me, but it's also in the terms of, is it the end of us at some point? Have you seen Planet of the Apes?
Right.
Have you seen Planet of the Apes?
Yeah.
They evolved.
Which one are you talking about? There's a lot of them.
Well, any of them.
Okay. Were you talking about like how
The
they
OG
evolved
ones
into
too.
you talking about how they evolved into being like intellectual and things
Yeah,
like
and
that?
they guess what? Humans, fuck you. We're throwing you in the cage. You're our bitch now.
But that's what I'm saying. Like we kind of do that to other animals that we kind of on. So why would we think that it's gonna be any different?
But that's my point.
But that's what I'm saying. Okay, so look, if we're creating a superior race, then how are we gonna feel bad whenever they enslave? We created them. Like, what the fuck? Like, how are we gonna say like, how dare you? That's like a dog looking up to be saying, how dare you? Whenever I spank it for shitting in the house.
Also, have you seen Rick and Morty when the dog got control? He's
but
like,
that's what I'm saying.
Bad Jerry.
That's what I'm saying. It's all
It takes is a superior race for humans to not necessarily be so relevant. That's a scary thought.
Yes.
But the fact is that at least we're creating the race, and where you have like kind of an availability, almost an availability to be able to tie into it.
And the thing is, we think, even Elon Musk had a point. He had a quote.
Humans 2.0.
I'm going to say, I can't remember the exact quote, but the gist of the quote was, we're going to do this thinking we can control. It was basically saying we're going to create a demon thinking we can control the demon. At some point, the demon's going to have a mind of its own and say, fuck y'all.
I mean, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But the thing, that's what I'm saying. It's like, that's the risk versus the reward. The risk is that you may or may not create something you can't control that will destroy human life on
But he
Earth
knows
as
that.
it exists.
The scientist knows that too. He
but
said
the reward would be so much greater. That's what I'm saying. So that's where they kind of have these. First of all, these are millionaires that have this money for research. So I mean, we don't really get a fucking choice. They're gonna do this shit. They're gonna read that.
CERN, they're doing shit all the time.
Oh, oh yeah, Kindred. I forgot. They're also with CERN as well.
Exactly.
They're with CERN.
They're doing.
So it's even worse.
They're so heavily funded. They're gonna do shit whether we like it or not. So at this point,
those are
you
two
better
businesses. Like they're ahead of the time, and I don't know if it's in a good way or if they're plotting our demise at this point.
It's like they're the super evil corporation that like the bad guy works for. Is it like in the Marvel movies?
That's what I'm saying. Okay, just a quick throwback here. If you listen to our podcast where we talk about the Higgs boson Higgs boson, I was wrong. Okay, I forgot a little bit. All right,
Hog-
and that brings me to the point, Josh, is when we're talking.
Okay.
It's time to get serious.
That brings me to my destination.
To my next point here. When we talk about, so we were talking about that. I kind of forgot what we were talking about.
Oh my god.
I'm off my train.
We were talking about simulation. We were talking about what point were you finna make just now?
Okay.
Go start there, and then we can go back.
My bad. So, if we're each seeing our own individual simulation, but we're also seeing everybody else's simulation, then at what point is law of attraction not a totally glad that I caught on to what I was saying, because for there I threw a complete blank.
I wasn't saying law
Quick
of
on my feet.
attraction was saying law of attraction without action. I mean, is a fake thing.
I would
The
agree.
law of attraction doesn't exist. That's what I'm trying to
Who's
say.
to say that you can nothing absolutely happen?
Something would happen, and
'Cause
it might, but the thing is if you're doing nothing every day, then you're not the person to say it's supposed to happen. You didn't do anything. If it happened, it didn't happen because of you. Therefore, how are you going to say that this was supposed to happen for you? It may have happened, but you don't get to say that it was supposed to happen.
This is a
at
little
that
bit off
point,
topic, but I'm
in
gonna
my
say,
opinion.
who's to say that that's not true and you didn't make it happen? The actions of someone else allowed it to happen, but you could have been the
Are
reason
you
that
saying
brought
are
it
you
to happen.
saying that something could have been supposed to happen to you in action?
Yes.
That makes sense whenever you're talking about a situation where you're tempted to do something and you inactivate yourself from doing that. You not allow yourself. That's maybe one point of view. But
who's
if
to
you're
say that's not
talking
the
about a
case?
point of view of literal inaction, of sitting on your couch from fucking 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., sleeping the rest of the time, that's inaction. I guarantee if you sit on your couch for 12 hours a day and the of are law of attraction, I'm gonna get everything I ever wanted. I want a Ferrari, I want $1 million house, I want a dime piece on my arm, I want everything, I want a Rolex for Christmas, I want that new Xbox game. Oh, I really want that new Xbox game. No, you're not gonna get that shit just sitting on the couch every day.
That's fair, but
You gotta at least go to the corner store and buy a lotto ticket. You know what I mean? Like,
have you ever seen BoJack Horseman?
yes.
Or Todd? Todd.
That's a cartoon.
I know. He literally doesn't. I mean, he kind of does shit, but not really. He's like, here's an idea. That's a great idea, Todd.
Todd's actions are doing all of the wrong shit at the perfect times. Like he'll fucking just show up to like a construction site with like a bag of burgers and all of a sudden just get out of nowhere. He was just walking home with food that he didn't pay for and it was for somebody else.
When I watched that show, I was always, man, how can I be Todd? This man showed up for a Halloween party, and he said he just stayed there and slept on the couch. Became a permanent resident at BoJack's house. That's how it was. There's an episode where it shows him knocking on the door for a
He was
Halloween
like, I
party.
always remember how we met. Yeah, I invited you to a Halloween party.
He was one day, trick or treat. Hey, you want to come to every year? The party's like, you want to come? Yeah, end up staying there.
It's living there
What
for
a-
12 years.
That's what I'm saying. Finally, he said,
With
it's
a
time for
fucking
me to
movie
move
star.
out. He moved into Mr. Peanut Butter's house next door. What a show. What a guy, though. I guess you're right, though. He did all the... I mean, law of attraction, though. That guy was just so happy about...
But see, I feel like he used like the opposite of law of attraction. He did all of the action without thinking of it. Got it all because he was doing.
that's just being...
That's more being in the moment and living like kind of like on the kind of life on the edge because he was essentially homeless, but he had a home that he was paying rent for. Basically, stayed on the couch for.
He was living just like constantly in the moment and
Right.
and capitalizing on every opportunity.
which is different
ever.
than the law of attraction because the law of attraction is not living.
Well, it is in a sense of you just... It's you knowing what you want and capitalizing on everything now. Being in this moment, allowing things to come
That's
to
what I'm
you.
saying. Is like
You have to truly allow these things.
right, but law of attraction You have to actually, whenever you're meditating, you have to actually take time to think about this shit. Doing that, and you're being acting.
My point in bringing that up mostly, how would that work though if everyone's living their own simulation, watching everyone live their own simulation? At some point, something, even if law of attraction, some things are going to have to go off on some path, which might involve someone sitting on their couch for 2 weeks in order for you to get what you love in itself. When people think of love, I think the way I look at it is like not compared to most people love someone, but love in itself, when that being love is the answer to life or whatever, that frequency of feeling that you feel, that pure genuine feeling, something for the first time. Some people call it, and that's when we were talking about frequencies as well, the alpha frequency, so to speak. That feeling of just pure genuine love all the time is, say you get married for the love of your life, see the mountains for the look out, hills for the first time, in that moment, kind of breathless, taken aback, and it's just feel that pure genuine, like that vibration and that.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that, I guess it interests me to see where evolution would go at some point, because we're constantly evolving because we're learning more about ourselves. So wouldn't that cause us to regress as well, though? Yes, they're going to be able to do things way better than we are.
Depends on how it's utilized as a planetary tool that we can utilize as something to not just help us fix what problems that we have on this, also help us get to colonizing. That's the only way the human race.
I think we should figure ourselves out first.
That's true. What I'm
if
saying
we
is
we're going to be just divine and conquer.
Eventually, we're going to overpopulate this. Maybe not 50 years from now. Eventually, Earth is going to. And then if we don't technologically, then making AI.
That might be our key.
But that's what I'm saying is like that's if. So look, AI will either be thing that lasts forever.
That's pretty.
But it's
it
like,
could be a great thing.
And even if it's anywhere in the middle, it's like, how do you even, can't really guarantee that it will break off to either side of the spectrum.
I think personally, though, when you at it, I really think it could be great. As I had said before, really scary thing is. But also, what I'm saying is how we'll regress. How will it hinder our conscious evolution? We were having this conversation, 12 dimensions of consciousness, which I'm not saying that's necessarily true, but the fact of if you do believe in evolution, how would that affect our own evolution and consciousness as itself? Because we haven't even seen our full potential. There's capabilities of us being able to heal ourselves at some point if we really get to that frequency where we're able to truly control our body. There's a point where we might even be able to transcend time.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We don't know. I'm not saying any of that's true, but
I would agree
to
with
really
you.
push our limits.
Right. Yeah, I would agree with you to say that we don't know our limits. We don't know our ceiling. We haven't reached it.
So. A lot of us haven't even pushed to get there.
Well, I mean, yeah, a lot of us don't necessarily have the availability to get there. I mean, you could say everyone does, but it depends on where you come from.
That's
I
also
guess.
true. Not everyone will. But I think we're getting to a point where more people are going to be able. Which I guess the technology, robots or AI, that's going to give us the chance to, because it's going to eliminate a lot of the jobs where you're not going to be able to do the physical jobs anymore. Right. Not that you won't be able to, but you're not going to be able to because no one's going to want to pay you.
Right. Or even the simple facts, like you should want to be able to live your life creatively rather than work for a corporation that pays you $8.50 an hour just so you can put food on your son's table.
You know what's funny to me though? you hear people saying they're taking all our jobs, you're telling me you wanted that shitty ass job. I mean, some people might like working at the bookstore and stuff that are those jobs.
See, I mean, that's not a bad job.
But-
I'd rather work at the bookstore than clean out sewers. I mean, you know what I mean?
They're taking all of our good, hardworking jobs. You're telling me you want to sit there in the hot sun 12 hours a day and do this?
Smell straight shit.
You don't want to do that.
No, that's not the move.
So why not do that? Work on yourself, because there's this book I just started reading. Deepak Chopra, that's the author. One of my favorite authors to read because he's very science oriented, also very spiritual oriented, which I say more on the science side though, but he incorporates it into spirituality to kind of put in both. It's called Super Genes, and it's basically it explains.
Like,
Yeah, that's exact. Super genes. You put them on. And how people believe that the genes that you're born with are set in stone. You can't change them. The thing is, that's wrong. There are certain parts of your genes, parts of your DNA change. Working with your mind. It's insane. I've only just started it, but the first part of it's already, because I read a couple of his books. He writes a lot of health books, but he works with other doctors as well, specializing. Because he has a vast knowledge of a good amount of things, but he's not necessarily. So he'll work with other doctors. That's exactly. So he also had one called Super Brain, which I written first, but Super Genes was supposed to be. Super Brain is also how the brain works. You remember stuff a lot faster. Start like your memory will get better, so you can remember things for a longer period of time. You can memorize things a lot faster. You can process things a lot faster. Analyze situations. Eating right, exercising, mental exercises. Crazy though. Guidelines in order to build up that point.
I think that has to do.
That's all. No, that's a part of it. I'm glad you said that because I forgot. But that's actually in the book as well. Is that it to like you can anti-age? You know, it actually like backtrack it to
It's
where
not like
your body's
can anti-age.
No,
it's like a process of anti.
and your body would actually start getting.
I think they said that it's not just like diet. Like,
But this
but
one's
you have to think about where.
this one's talking about more so. That's what I'm saying though. Like when you get in your mindset in the way that if you can get your mind, body, soul right, you can literally start affecting your structure. There's certain little. You know about microbiomes,
Right.
your gut biome and stuff.
Well,
'Cause
it's
your
every- you have,
body's a
like,
whole
microbiome
organism,
as
you
your
know?
You have
microbiome everywhere, like on your skin there.
Because you have to think your body's one big organism with smaller organisms working to do everything, you know?
Right.
And it's also saying that you could fight off
Your
cancer.
body's a universe in its own.
And
There's millions and billions of cells all through your body that work together to create who you are every day.
exactly. And your brain itself is sending these signals throughout your body to do what, to go where. You know, your body feels a certain way. There's going to be things that go to fight that sickness or illness. And if you build your immune system and you get that to a point, you'd be able to signal to, hey, go here, or, you know, like, and it would be able, it was talking about it would decrease your risk of cancer, if not be able to not cure cancer, but pretty much if you were to get it, if that gets into your body, it's fighting it off like that, which is an interesting thought. And that's what I'm saying is AI, I guess, is good because it could help us push in the future, but we haven't even reached our potential.
Right.
But also, if we do reach our potential, you have a great point in saying that we're going to overpopulate the Earth. Because if we get to that point where we are, you know, superhuman, super genes, you know, like,
Right.
you know,
Well, that's what I'm saying is like
we're going to overpopulate the Earth.
Anybody who is a proponent of saying there is no life on like extraterrestrial life because we haven't encountered it. I mean, you could say we've encountered it. It's not necessarily set in stone. It's all conspiracy theories and things like that. And there's some evidence. But what I'm saying is that's not my point. What I'm saying is that for the majority of everybody on Earth, people like to think of themselves as the superior race of the universe, the superior species of the universe. That even though a bear, a lion, and a tiger could maul them, that we made technology, we have guns, we have the availability to take control. So, with that being the case, if you gave us the availability to be 10 times what we are now, that fucking cockiness is going through the roof. Everybody is now number one. That's whenever everybody's actually gonna be on think that they're the man on fire.
It's gonna
That's when everybody's actually gonna think that this is my show. I'm the man of the show. You all are running on my show, so don't act like this isn't my show.
It's gonna be kind of
I think it's
One Punch Man, where everyone's just, I'm the best, and they all try to fight him. I'm number one. He's
Right.
Stop it. Just
See, because it might not get to a point of literal like superpowers or anything, but like even just like if you're superbly if you're moving and being a human at a superb level on all accounts, as far as your family, your health, your mentality, your productiveness, your creations, everything. Like if you're firing on all cylinders, who's gonna be able to tell you anything? And if everybody's doing that, that's what I'm saying. Is like it might get a little bit out of hand. In a sense.
That's what I'm saying. But imagine if we're able to manifest a lot quicker too. That's another thing that I was thinking. So with AI, are they going to be able to do that as well? If law of attraction is a real thing, or we're able to manifest our realities and create, are they going to be able to do that same thing? In what aspect would they be able to? They'll have the mind that we would be able to have, but they wouldn't. Would they still be able to think? And then have have things happen around it because it's artificial. That's a weird thought to me.
Are you saying like would they still be tied into the interconnectedness of like the human race?
Exactly. Yes, that's a good way to put out. I couldn't put into words, but you found what I was looking for. Yes, exactly.
Yes and no, because I think it's an interesting point because nowadays most people's connectedness is online. So, in that point, I think you would, but I don't think you'd have it to its full extent. You'd still feel the interconnectedness, I feel, but you wouldn't necessarily be like as tapped in as you are when you're looking at somebody in their eyes. You'd be tapped in. I know who you are. I feel you, and I can even connect with you on a basis where I don't even have to be in front of you. But it won't be so much of a connection where I look you deeply into your eyes and you can feel what I'm saying, like in your whole soul and everything. Like, you know what I mean? Whenever you are actually having a conversation that resonates with you, that you will remember for the rest of your life. I don't know if you'll be able to have that. Well, I don't know if AI will be able to feel that. You might still be able to have that with a bot that is controlled by AI. But I don't know if they'll ever be able to have that type of necessarily understanding and compassion towards the human soul.
And will they not need sex either? Is that another thing? Or would it be, they're already making
At that point, I mean,
are they going to have AI dolls? Because they already have the sex dolls that look realistic. It's going to be AI dolls.
At that point,
I love you.
At that point, I'm sure they would have like a point of stimulation that's more than sex. Like sex wouldn't even exist.
It'd be a next level
It'd
thing.
be like a mental thing. Probably, it'd be like it'd probably be like from like across the room. I could tie myself to you mentally, like I guess with consent, and fucking fuck in our heads basically type shit.
So would we die off? And I think would it be better if we just all died off and then they become a new species? Honey, I'm home.
I mean, but that's what I'm saying.
Will they have like TV, like robot TV, like ha ha ha?
That's what I'm saying. Like that's one way of thinking about it. But it could get so real that it's indiscernible. Like imagine if like you were a robot, like just right now. I thought I was talking to a human this whole time, but I'm a robot.
Like my face falls up.
No, not even that. Not even that. Nah, I'm a robot, bro. You can see like my screws right here. I don't show them all the time. I'm wearing long sleeves. You know what I mean? And it's like it could be like that. Like that. It could be like the only thing that's discernible could be a couple of bolts and screws.
It's kind of a crazy thing.
Like the whole personality point could also potentially get to a stasis of being so actually profoundly descriptive in the way that a human acts. I'm
It's
sure
gonna
through
be
the
to the T,
studies.
you know. It's gonna be interesting to see where.
Isn't
it
there
goes.
already technology where you can like put together like all you need is like 20 or 30 recordings of somebody saying like a bunch of different sentences or something, and then you can put it all in like a software program, and you can pretty much have that voice say whatever you want it to say.
Yeah, they can structure things.
Right?
To
It's
that
kind of
degree.
like Photoshop, but for voices and videos.
That's weird.
There's a whole video on YouTube of Joe Rogan interviewing Joe Rogan.
That's
It's a little choppy, but the fact is that it's real, and that's got to be going somewhere.
It doesn't have to be, but it more
It's
than
going to be.
It's
It's
more than likely.
going to be.
It's more than likely going
It's
to be
going
somewhere.
to be.
And that stuff in
Stuff?
going in that direction.
Stuffy stuff?
Stuffing Thanksgiving.
Stuffy noses?
All of the above. Well, it poses the question for me. So I'm a firm believer once again in evolution of consciousness. Some people believe there's 12 dimensions. I'm not saying there's 12 dimensions of consciousness. Just to be clear, dimension is different facet of what we perceive to be reality.
It's the definition of a dimension.
That's the definition. So it doesn't have to mean a different dimension. We're not on some Rick and Morty.
That's like a different reality or a different.
It's different than what we perceive. Our realities here, a different dimension could just be it could be just instead of me going like this, I went like this. You know,
Instead of pointing up, pointing to your left.
that could be the only difference. That's a different dimension.
Right.
So, I mean, alternate reality, that could be a different dimension. But in consciousness, it's, for instance, the third dimension is what we lie in now.
Right.
That's what our normal is. And then you go to fourth, fifth, sixth. It gets to a point of what people would consider God consciousness.
I think it's the ninth one.
God consciousness, I think
Yeah.
that is nice. Which would be us instantaneously being able to manifest whatever we want. In creation in itself, we're able to create greater things than what we're able to create now. And
Even
our
species.
consciousness is one with itself. We're one with the universe, so to speak. We're in tune with not only ourselves, we're in tune with the universe around us. We're resonating at such a high frequency that we're able to create beyond what it can even comprehend at this point.
Right.
And that's why it's what would God be, or what would God look like, what would God be like? We couldn't comprehend that because our consciousness right now, and this is what I'm saying, we're able to manifest things at a certain rate. The higher your frequency, you're able to manifest things faster in your life. You want money, it's going to come to you. You want success, it'll come to you. You want love, it'll come to you. The higher your frequencies vibrate, or so to speak, in terms of what I'm talking about in this situation, you're able to manifest faster. So when you evolve to higher dimensions of your consciousness, I forgot my thoughts for a second.
You wanted to say higher levels.
No, you don't know, but we had this conversation earlier about dimensions, and he was saying, why can't we just say levels? Okay,
Because
fair
there's
point.
levels to this shit.
Same. All right, you can call them levels.
I feel like whenever you say dimensions, people like start to think about like going through a wormhole or some shit. Like
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be on some Rick and Morty. We're on a different dimension. You know?
like some interstellar shit. Like nah, like okay. I feel like you should. I don't know. You can say whatever the fuck you want. You're your own person. But levels would be more clear. I feel like.
Yeah. So I think the fourth or fifth is time. So when you transcend time within your mind, because we see things from beginning to end, start to finish always.
Mm-hmm.
I always bring up the movie The Arrival because that was one of my favorite movies because it not only talked about space, not only talked about aliens, but it talked about time and the perception of time and these aliens. If you haven't seen the movie, I'm spoiler alert. Again, go watch it, but it's awesome. It basically takes how we see the sequence of time because the structure of our sentences and our language, there's a start, there's a finish. We die. We're born, we die. Correct? In their life, their way that their language is they shoot this liquid through their hands.
It's like a smoke.
Yeah,
like
smoke.
A liquidy smoke.
And it
or
makes
some
an
shit.
image. And the image can be there however long they want. So it's timeless. So they perceive time in a circle rather than linear.
Right.
So time's constantly going. Like they see all realities constantly,
Right.
There's no point in time. And that's a point where people believe if we go to a higher conscience, that's what it is. You're transcending time. There's no this is this point and this is this point. You're constantly living life as it should be, which is in a circle. Which is why some people believe that some people have intuition. Their intuition's higher.
Mhm.
I sense something, legitimately. There are people who I
Right.
feel this because they're living at a higher frequency, a higher dimension to where they feel as though this is gonna happen. Or people that can predict things that are gonna happen. They see images of certain things that are gonna happen because
Right.
they're not just living on this plane at this point. They're living beyond what we just perceive as the third dimension,
Yeah.
third level. All right, the
That's-
third level.
There you go.
So that's where I think when it comes to AI is, will that be a thing? Would it still be possible for people to reach that? Would they be able to reach a God conscious, so to speak? Or is it just, is God some kid, who made some science project, and at this point, this is where it's going, and just leave them down?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Okay, so like,
For all you religious people out there, if AI becomes a thing, that's gonna
it's gonna
Pull
poop
it-
on your parade.
Yeah,
it's gonna
big
poop
time.
all over your parade. Cause that's what I'm saying. I don't know, man. It's like I don't want to say there's not a God, but like if we can create a species,
I'm saying there is a God no matter what. Because I truly think something. If you think of in terms of layers and how things are, something created something that created something that no matter what.
okay, right. So who created God? That's what I'm saying. Okay, so this is my point. My point is to say that it's like if we are able to create a species that brings us to be able to explore the cosmos and find life that's not on Earth, life that's sustainable, that isn't human life, that is a whole different species, living in its own civilization, living in its own, has its own thoughts about all of that. Religion in itself and God as a concept, creationism in it.
I'm saying is personal, because
I mean-
creationism is if God created us at this point, our creators. We're supposedly God, We're we're the universe
Or the
experiencing.
universe experiencing,
And at that point,
itself.
that's what God is, but at a greater point. So at this
Right,
point, what
nah.
we're the creators of a different species at that
See,
point.
But that's what I'm saying. Okay, so the only reason you have to say or almost happened. Reason to say there's a God is because no.
At that point, when we're the creators.
Right, okay, that's not my point. The point is to say that you can't necessarily just say that there's a God just because it happened. That's like saying that's like saying, please, Mr. Sun God, will you make it rain? We have or the rain gods. It's been a drought in this desert for 20 years. Will you please make it rain? Like that's what I'm saying. That's like not understanding the phenomenon of climate in like parts of the world and where it rains, droughts occur. Not having that understanding is to make it God that makes die whenever.
I
So that's
don't
what I'm
believe
s-
that. I'd
I-
say
I
that
believe-
something probably created us.
I would say that something probably created us
And I
too.
think there's laws of the universe. There are laws of the universe,
Right.
regardless. That's what I would believe, regardless. But
But-
I'm not going to believe that God created us so He has control of everything we do.
Right. Or that I wouldn't even.
create a kid
I
and-
would also argue that the divine plan, God. Whenever He created us, He decided that there wasn't a divine. He decided, I'm gonna allow them to like you said, a science project.
I think we each have a gift. I think we're born with
It's
a
like
gift.
a science project. It's like you have a hypothesis of where you're gonna start, what you're gonna put it into experiment, collect data, form a conclusion. Right now we're in the experiment, almost like in the data portion, but conclusion has yet to be.
A lot going on right now. A lot going on. We're about to go from telephones talking to us saying, "Hey, Mr. Velasquez, can I get that for you? Can I get your coat for you?" Someone who potentially looks like a human, but you know is not. Oh shit! Oh, Jesus
Christ!
Don't scare me like that, Mr. Belvedere. God.
No, yeah, that'd be crazy though. Cause like think about it this way: like go to like a fancy hotel. Like man, like I shot today. Shit, it's coke. I can get her number. As soon as she go to get your coat, her fucking arm extends into like this fucking like a fucking coat rack or some shit. She just said, "All right, you can put it on there, sir." And then he's just like, "Holy, but oh my god!"
She said, "You just gonna assume my species?"
But don't you think that it might get there? Whole different. You see,
Yeah.
like, how dare you assume that I'm human? I'm a robot. You respect
Will
my
it be like
species?
different species of robots? I'm robot 35471.
Like different model
It's
numbers.
like different. There's a war between fucking this style of robot and this style of robot. My species of robots didn't go through hard labor in the Amazon.
I'm Robot Ninja and you're Robot Samurai. There's not room for the both of us.
Imagine you see a rise of the I can't think of freaking just like packaging. You know the packaging robots that package.
Oh yeah,
packaging
yeah,
right
yeah.
now?
I don't know what that.
Like those robots, and you have robots, coat hanger robots. There's not enough room for both of us. Just
Oh, man. Has to go. Not just gonna. Not just gonna. It's not. We're not just gonna stay in a static point. It's finna just happen one day. Have to just.
robots have race. It restarts because they kill
What
us
if they
off,
have, like,
but then they. I'm the like the alpha robot here. We're the alpha species of robots.
What if they had,
You're
like,
the packaging robot. I'm the warrior robot.
Had like a fight to the. Against the refrigerator. I don't know, guys. The microwave's smaller. You can kind of get around the ring. It's more elusive. But the refrigerator's got the size on him. It's got strength. We're just gonna see what's going on here.
That's a little out there, but who's to say that couldn't happen? You know what I mean? Appliances coming to life at that point.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Okay, so like, what is AI robots take over? Electronic buddies.
I think it'd be kind of. It's just like how we see dogs as like animals. Come here, boy. It's like for them. I assume they'd say
feel like they
the
would treat us
microwaves would
like
be
that,
below
if
them.
anything.
The microwave, I feel,
It'd be like the peasants.
the microwave's like the dog.
You only serve one function.
Microwave comes up. He's like, yeah, I was just hungry. Puts food in the microwave comes to them. They put the food.
Thanks, bro. Get the fuck out of my.
Come back to me when it's ready.
Fucking Rick and Morty, the bread.
yeah.
The dude that brings bread.
Yeah, he said, "What is my purpose?"
He said, "Bring bread, or you bring butter."
He said, "It could be to that point." Watch it more. Creates a whole new. Might just be
the
the
social
same.
hierarchy of it.
Would they be like smarter than us, or at that point would they be just us at that point?
I
Or would they
mean,
be smarter? Like, how are
they would be the same as us in a way because we them, but they would also
do this job, or would they all just be all just trying to do their same job?
It would probably be like they're all extremely smart, have a hive mind, all understand productivity wise, not necessarily have to be told because they're already connected to each other's doing, so they know.
I guess I kind of answered. Said they all have a hive mind. They all have one. That's what I believe in. we do all have one greater conscience,
Right.
and we're all each individual people living their own simulation, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So in that instance, if AI is all part of one interconnectedness, which would be the web, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be all their hive minds, but they're all living their individual functions.
Right.
So, so to speak, who's to say we can't get to the level that they're at? We're just not there yet.
Us.
So would we be able? Couldn't we just take that and maybe be able to implant something that would make us smarter? Would that be possible? Instead of making a whole new species,
So
take that technology.
now you're talking about like kind of putting a chip in everybody's head.
Half robot, half human.
Is that better? In your opinion, is
I
that
don't
not
know.
more scary having to get a whole lot of surgery done?
Hey, he was half robot and I robot.
Was that better for
He
him?
saved the world.
Was that a good decision? Was that like did he say like when he signed that petition or signed the form?
He didn't
the
want to be
consent
half
form?
robot, but if he wasn't, would he have
Exactly.
saved the world?
No, but he would.
Exactly.
But he would have been dead, and it wouldn't have been his problem. How about that?
Also a fair point. But with that being
He
said,
created so many more problems for himself when he decided to be a robot.
it's just when you look at it scientifically and you just look at how creationism is, you know, we're building this thing that has this whole this point that they come together,
Right.
but they're each individuals. I'm saying we're the same way. We don't realize
We're in a sense the same way.
we're
but
all a part of one
but
greater consciousness, but we're all living a separate lives. We're experiencing it all differently.
It's like it's such a lack of recognition that we, like you explained. I guess it seems so impossible because we understand that it is. Because we understand that so many people aren't going to recognize or realize that that is possible. So therefore, if it does have to be collective, that means maybe not everybody has to be on board. 70%. 70% of 7.5 billion people is how much?
It's still a lot of people.
Fucking lot of
That's a
people.
lot of people.
All right.
Maybe
so,
like can we shoot for 50? That's still a lot. That's
so
still
therefore,
a lot. That's still a lot.
so therefore, at that point, it's like you have to kind of take it into like consideration. It's like I think that being like I think you're right. I think that we do have the capability of doing that, but it's almost impossible in the sense of like it would take so much like effort in giving up everything we've ever built to understand that.
So just it would probably, at this point, having this conversation, I'd say probably it would be better if the AI did come, because at least they'd all have, you know, if that were the case, if they understood we're all from this and we're like this is our general
It would be,
knowledge right
it just
here.
depends on how you look at
separating.
it, because it's like, would it be better for us? Would it be better for the earth? Would it be better for life itself? It's like three separate things. You can't really have all three.
We could.
If you want it to be better for the earth, it's definitely going to be terrible for us because we are destroying the earth. If you want it to be good for us, it's not going to be good for the earth. And it might be great for life though. If you want it to be great for life, you have to find a middle ground between us and earth. You have to find out how to get us to, you have to value the life so you don't kill us. So you have to figure out how to educate us on how to value the earth, which would be a fucking problem. And they'd probably be on some easy shit like you can't even fucking get some fucking swings off your golf swing. I'm not gonna understand this shit. Fuck you, I'm killing you. Get out of here.
Yeah. It might get to a point though. I mean, if we do end up, when that at this point, I feel like it's not even if. When all that does end up happening, you know, if we are destroying the earth, well, we are destroying the earth. At that point in time, the world's going to be getting destroyed. So I think that destroying the world, taking it over, and passing on the torch, they'd be able to live off less resources.
Right.
So.
Well, that's okay. Well, the thing is that we would probably build a system that doesn't necessarily feed off of resources.
Exactly. So I
So
guess it would
need
be
resources.
It's tough. I really want to shoot for the human race here and say that we could do it better.
So
and
look,
I want to see where we could go.
The only way to shoot for the human race is, like I said, you have to teach, somehow control and teach the AI to better the human race and educate them on how to take care of the earth and its resources. So therefore, the humans could utilize those resources and the earth for all that it is and all that it could be, not everything that we're taking away from it.
This is what I'm saying. is I think that would be the best possible scenario, and then they'd be able to figure out a way off this planet, and then they would be we could integrate life, and then figure out another planet and start life there as well. Integrate life. That's best case scenario.
So look, that's what I'm saying. So like, there would be a 2-step process in that. You would have like best case scenario in a perfect world. You would want it to be able to. Its first prerogative, like I said earlier, you would want to use it as a planetary and an interplanetary tool. First, you're gonna focus on planetary. How can we focus these humans on figuring out how to keep this planet alive? Because they gotta sustain here. Now, once you figure that shit out, you have to instead, like before integrating them into your culture, utilize all of the technology and AI you have to explore all of the cosmos that you can.
Or even
and find a place where you can make a human life interplanetary.
Shit, at that point they could help us to evolve and get to a point to where you're right, and to a point where we are creating our own species.
Right.
A whole nother species on top of what we already. You never know. That's crazy.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like but that would be in a perfect world. That would be if we had clear, not to see, because like the thing, I feel like one of the problems is trying to use the word control, because you don't necessarily want. I guess if this thing is powerful, so powerful that it can take over the human race, you don't necessarily want it to feel controlled, but you do need to have control.
I don't believe in either of this. Realistically, this is what's gonna happen. They're gonna get smart. Idiots are gonna feel dumb because that's what they do, and they're gonna say, "Hey, they're smarter than us. That's dangerous. Let's kill them." War's gonna break out. We're gonna die.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or realistically, what's gonna happen is you're gonna have people. Let's use them for military purposes. Or hey, let's use
That's
them for.
probably what it's gonna be first, though.
Let's use them for all the wrong reasons.
Right.
Because we're idiots and we're not looking to better ourselves.
Let's employ them in the police forces to stop the drugs in the streets. Like that's what you want to do. It's like I guess that's a good thing. Like you're stopping crime, but like that's really not what we should be using that for. We could be using that for so many other things. First of all, we only have crime because most of these fucking neighborhoods are poor as shit, and that's only because money is there's things that have a monetary value in this country and on this earth. What is money? It's a piece of paper. Where does that come from? A tree. Okay. Well, so wait, trees, but we cut down trees all the time to make buildings and houses. I don't understand what's going on here.
So if I make money, it's not legitimate.
Money is valuable, but wait, it comes from trees. But wait, trees aren't valuable.
It's only valuable if
like,
the Federal Reserve makes it.
Right.
So at this point, you're telling me I could make a dollar bill. That doesn't count.
I'm sorry. Sorry, buddy. Wait, it's still paper. It's green. It looks the same. That's illegal. Go to jail. Type shit. And it's like, that's the system that's broken. So like, you're more worried about the drugs in the streets than fixing the system. Which is a problem.
That just wouldn't be healthy.
And on that note, thank you guys for listening. I hope you all have a great week. Daniel, do you want to issue your challenge once again?
Yeah, okay. Another challenge. Give compliments to people, okay? If past challenges, if you didn't know, 5 minutes a day meditation. Do something you love to do. Now is when you give compliments. Be nice to people. Go out of your way to just maybe hold the door for somebody. Say, hey, you look good today. You're a beautiful person. All that good jazz. Also, I want to say that thank you for listening. We really enjoyed you tuning into our podcast. This is far from finished, because we are far from finished. We're here to make a change, better ourselves, and hopefully push people in the right direction and build a community here. So this is a community. Feel free to ask us any questions. Feel free to say what you need to say. If you need to confide in anybody, my Twitter is @RadDudeDandy.
Mine's @Josh_M7. You can also find our podcast page at, what is it?
@Finished from Far. So literally our podcast, but the words in the reverse order. So
there you go. That's
@Finished from Far. You can go follow us there. And if you want to say anything,
don't feel free to reach out. We appreciate any and all feedback. And you guys keep on listening. We're gonna get you guys some new content coming soon. Stay tuned.
we got a lot going on. Last thing, I'm sorry, Josh, I was gonna end it there.
Tell them about where they can hear it.
Yeah. So also, you are. I want to give a quick shout out to a couple people. We have a good friend Chance, another good friend Joel. If you stay tuned, you tune into our social media as well. we'll also be mentioning them. They've been helping us out. They're going to help us out with these videos, help us out with marketing. Great people. You're going to be able to find us on Google Play Music, on Spotify, iTunes.
Are we on SoundCloud?
Not SoundCloud. I need to work on getting it there. That'd be smart. This is going to do that. So far from finished. We'll be posting links up really soon as well. So stay tuned. We'll be back next week. Thank you for listening, everybody.
Bye.